Before we begin, thank you very much to Mellow Boy for joining the Patreon campaign. Thank you very much for the support. Always appreciate everyone who sticks around on Patreon. I deeply appreciate the support and the effort to keep me going and keeping me doing this for as long as possible. We are still going. Haven't stopped yet. Don't plan to stop yet. Mello, you did pitch in at the highest tier, so whenever you get around to it, DM me over on Patreon so I can get whatever video request you want done. Now, we have a Here's 10 today. So, yesterday we took a look at a very special piece from YOLO Park, their AMK Revenge of the Fallen Megatron, where I did state, yes, this is actually a movie design I like. And it got me to thinking, like, I am very mean to the movie designs. I mean, aesthetically, no, it is not my favorite. But that said, there are designs I have weaknesses for, and there are some that, on some weird objective level in my head, are absolutely fine. Even with my preference to more classic Transformer designs, there's still a few things from the Bayverse I like. So, we're going to be looking at my 10 favorite. This is going to be a very subjective list. So don't start going like, these aren't the best. These are just the ones I happen to like. Now, to make this a little bit more interesting, I am going to completely leave out Transformers 1, live action movies only. And to sweeten it just a little bit more, I am disqualifying the Cybertron scene from Bumblebee. That's too easy. No, we want stuff that looks like Bayverse, or things adjacent to it. So, without further ado, here's 10 of my favorite live-action Transformer designs. I will admit I'm trolling just a little bit with this one, that's why it's so low on the list, but I have to throw it in because I unironically really like this design. That is Jolt. Poor Jolt did not get to do nearly as much in the movie as he was originally supposed to. He's a character that was thrown in the very last minute because, well, he was a model of car that they really wanted to sell. So, hey, throw him in the movie to promote it, please. But the design, unironically, is really cool. Like, in a sea of gray robots, all of that blue is really striking. Like, he stands out a lot. And yeah, I really like the whip design. I really like he has, like, with the clawed hands, well, I mean, not with the clawed hands, but like, it works with the clawed hands. And like, these gigantic spear tendrils coming out of his arms, gives me like Mortal Kombat Scorpion vibes, you know? Like, he looks like that type of fighter. He would have been so cool in the fight scenes if they'd actually just thrown him in where he's just lashing whips around, electrocuting Decepticons. Oh, it's missed opportunities. Missed opportunities. Should have thrown him in the third movie. Give him his due. And don't kill him off in a random way. No, unfortunately, he's left to little more than a cameo. But at least his name is said on screen. But yeah, really disappointing that we didn't get more of him because, yeah, I genuinely, unironically, really like that design. Similar to the Cybertron scene, I kind of feel like Rise of the Beast is cheating a little bit because the design aesthetic in that movie is notably different. Still familiar for live action fans, but definitely leaning harder into a more G1 solid robot aesthetic with a lot less broken up parts, more color on the designs, which is my preference. So obviously a few are going to trickle in, but I want to keep this list true to its intention. So we're only going to get a couple in here, and I'm going to start with Arcee. This is such a marked improvement over the previous two movie Arcee designs, and yes, I say the previous two. Revenge of the Fallen was all about these super alien-looking robots, things that have no design practicality or logic. They just look freakish and alien for the sake of looking freakish and alien. So you had these, these serpentine women posing as Arcee. And then the previous movie design that we did get a toy of is extraordinarily broken up in design detail, like more so than a lot of the Transformers from that movie. It was weird. It's like it was originally intended to be a movie design, but I don't think she would have fit in. Like, she doesn't really look good, really. Here we hit a nice middle ground. She's a solid design, very smooth. The colors hit nice. She does obviously have a lot more G1 Arcee in her than the previous designs. I'm just more concerned with the fact that she is sleek, and that gets across her, design aesthetic and her intention. Because she's a motorbike. She's supposed to be a fast character. She should look sleek. She shouldn't look like a bunch of shrapnel glued together. But no, she comes across really, really well. Really like this design. Marked improvement. And will admit, I might be putting her on this list because she is so improved from her previous designs. But my list, screw it. I like her. Something in a good design that a lot of the Bayverse kind of misses is just emphasizing the character with the design. Unless it's a weird caricature. That's a thing in the movies, unfortunately. But sometimes you just need that design to get across who the character is. And I think Mirage's does that fairly well. He's got this younger look to him than the rest of the Autobots, partially because he's a lot smoother in design. All of this areas are more rounded. A lot of the car shrapnel does not break into a lot of pieces, not hanging off his back or his arms or anything like that. He's a much more consolidated robot. It doesn't look like he's been torn up yet. So he does have a really good look to him. And I like the unique head look with the asymmetrical helmet design. That's always a standout point for me on the design. In motion is a really important one with Mirage. In motion, Mirage looks really, really good. A very clean robot. A very, intuitive in design robot. Granted, I can't tell where all the vehicle goes because he is a little bit too thin for it. But, I will accept it for what it is. I'm still really happy with the choice of making Mirage the main character of that movie, rather than defaulting to Bumblebee or Optimus Prime. Let someone else shine. And they did a good job making sure he was a design you could actually get behind. Is it really Mirage? I mean, it's got a little bit of notes of the original, so I'll take it. Maybe it's a little Hound or Jazz thrown in there too, but still, I thought it was a really solid job. Still one of my favorites. We all have that one Transformer design that you just can't really explain. You stare at it, you just go, I like it. I don't know why, but I like it. It's just my thing. And apparently, my thing happens to be Roadbuster. I don't know why. Like, every time I see this guy in toy form, I go like, wow, he looks way cooler than the other wreckers. Probably because, like short, portly Leadfoot is not my aesthetic, and then, like, tall with a ton of junk hanging off of his back with top spin is also not my aesthetic. Roadbuster hits this nice in-between and just manages to look like a good-looking Bayverse robot. No, it's not just because it's green. No, it's not just that. You know what I think it is? I do think it's the green and black aesthetic. I will admit. But I also think it is the shoulder pods, like the missile pods over the shoulders. I really like over the shoulder or on the shoulder weaponry. Like, that's actually a really good design element to make me happy. And then I really like aspects of silhouette. I think silhouette is one thing I haven't really talked about. Is like the character looks like they are distinct because of their overall shape. And he does have a distinct look to him because of the wide shoulders and like the more clean look that he's got going on compared to some of his compatriots in the movies. Yeah, I think it's just one of those weird designs that just hits me. I can't narrow down exactly why. But like between the color scheme, between some of the design elements like the missile pods, like even the shades, I don't mind on him too much. Like the visor coming out, even that I don't really mind. I don't know why. I just really like the design, and I'm not going to think about it any harder than that. Okay, it's time to get some bad guys in here, because the bad guys end up having some really cool designs in Transformer movies, and I could put a ton of them in here, but we've only got room for a few, and frankly, yeah, there's reasons why these end up on my list. We're going to start with Sentinel Prime. For starters, he does look like a really powerful ancient robot. Like, getting across, like, Optimus Prime's predecessor in design, that's done exceptionally well on this toy. I do get that. Like, the helmet design and just the overall body shape kind of invokes Optimus in his shapes, which, yeah, that makes that correlation. It creates that link. And then you throw in the more unique design elements, you know, like the big the big cape on the back made up of the top of the fire truck, the wide pointed shoulders, like the solid red design, which again, solid colors on a character in the movies, big winner for me, because that's something that they miss so often. Color is so important to making sure that character looks distinct from everything else going on. Yeah, he hits the design notes. He looks like a Prime. He looks a lot more ancient than Optimus, but he still looks powerful. He still looks like he has authority to him. And that is, again, character-driven design. And I really, really like that. Sentinel's good. Sentinel's a really, really good design. And as usual, a good design for a bad guy, as a lot of Sentinels end up being. Okay, it's time to get some of the main characters in here. It's overdue, frankly. But hey, that does mean that they rank high on the list, so yay. I'm throwing in Bumblebee from Bumblebee. So the normal Bumblebee designs really don't scratch the itch for me anymore. It was cool when I saw them in 2007, but I've kind of grown tired of it. And really, like, it doesn't hit me the way it used to. And I think it's because I started to realize something was missing. Like, there is an aspect of this design that does not work for me. And this is the design that taught me what it was. Bumblebee in the OG was supposed to be the one that was closest to the humans because he looked the friendliest. Because he just looks like a guy. He is friend-shaped. And that's what 07 Bumblebee is missing. He's supposed to be the one closest to humans. He's not friend-shaped. He's warrior-shaped. This one adds back in the roundness to the design that it is sorely lacking in all the other movies. You know, the shoulders are more rounded. The legs especially are a lot more rounded. He's missing the door wings. His chest, again, round details. He looks soft as a result. And as a result, he looks friendlier. He looks like he's more approachable than the other Transformers in the movie. That's pivotal to a character like Bumblebee, whether that is the original or the modern interpretation. It's an extremely important aspect that I think the other designs completely miss. This hit it. This hit it hard. This fixed so many of the problems that I have had with live-action Bumblebees, which is why the next movie they completely dropped that lesson and just went back to how he always looked. You try to steer them in the right direction, just sometimes you just want to steer the boat right into the vortex. Right into the typhoon. It is what it is. But we got this design. I still want a really good toy this design, by the way. Masterpiece couldn't even figure it out. I know there's third party. I might actually do that. Either way, yeah, still love this design. Still want more of this one. More villains, you say? Oh, sure. Don't mind if I do. So, the movies were not great at conveying that this is supposed to be the original character, right? It's very rare they took design elements from the original and put them into their live-action movies. But every now and then, they got it right. They mixed that live-action, sharp, like really like aggressive design style with enough G1 elements to recognize the character, to give us more akin to something like one of the reimaginings from, say, the Unicron trilogy. Let us talk Shockwave. This is a killer design. He's got the Cyclops part, he's got the hose and the giant arm cannon part. That's enough to convey the character for me. And then everything else kind of embraces the live action style of design, turning those sharp details into this like chrome rib cage makes him look really, really menacing. This is a vicious looking Shockwave design. I liked this design so much in the movie. It really bugged me when all he did was snarl and growl like any of the other completely generic Decepticons in those movies. No, he should have been calculating, he should have been intimidating. No, character failed this one, but the design work is immaculate. I think this is a really good blend of the OG Transformer aesthetic and the design details you expect of the character, and still just embracing the Bayverse element of it. It's another reason why I was so upset over the Studio Series, because if that toy's purple parts had been a little bit brighter and a little bit more popping and noticeable, oh, I would have bought that toy as soon as I saw it on its first release. Now, never mind its re-release. Just fell short. Didn't do this design justice at all. This design is exceptionally good. Really, really menacing. Still feels like Shockwave. That's the key part. I did just tell you it was one of my favorite designs in the movies, right? So, no surprise, Revenge of the Fallen Megatron is on this list. And again, this is another one of those designs where, like, I'm not entirely sure why. This might be because I'm not necessarily thrilled with how the other ones are designed. Like, 07 Megatron is the epitome of shrapnel on skeleton Transformer design, right? Like, that's all he is. He's just sharp metal on a gray skeleton. Movie 3, I didn't like him being a semi-truck. It felt like he was trying to be Prime. And he's not a character who needs to hide, so it felt weird. Cool toys, but, like, I don't know. Something about it never worked for me. Obviously, movie 4 is a different exception. That was a super weird take. No one was really happy with Galvatron. And then movie 5, honestly, I thought it was course correcting too hard. Now he had no shrapnel. He's a lot darker in design. There's some more G1 aesthetic elements to it, but honestly, I don't think it fits this one. This one still strikes the movie Megatron look before his look started swapping around every movie. It's a way more menacing design than the original with the giant feet and the rounded. I think that's what it is. I think because all of his parts are a little bit more rounded and flow into each other, it's a far more cohesive look, even though he does still have a lot of the same shrapnel stuff going on that the original 07 design had. But he's more cohesive. Like, it all makes sense. It all looks more solid, and that's what I'm after here. And then, yeah, I really like the murder arm. He's like a big fiddler crab, you know. He's got this one little dangly hand that's not doing a whole lot of anything, and then just has this one big arm that's just designed for killing. Right? Like, there's just something about that. It's just like, it has this aggression to it that I really appreciate. Yeah, between keeping the design elements of the 07 movie design that looked good and worked, making it more solid, putting in some more heavy, intense elements to him. This hits me right. I don't know, you know, like I said, like, I'm doing a lot of explanation, but I'm still, like, kind of on the fence of, like, man, like, I almost can't pinpoint why I like the design so much. I guess I'm doing a decent job of it here, but there's still an X factor I can't quite nail. Suffice to say, it's my favorite Megatron design from the live-action movies. Yes, even above The Last Knight. Now, previously for Here's 10, I did do favorite characters from these movies, and I was judging them mostly based on personality. You know, what character that they were going with. And very high up the list, I believe, was my number 1, was Shatter. the villain from the Bumblebee movie. And yes, Shatter does come across as an extremely good character, a Decepticon who is, oh my god, deceptive. But the silhouette, here we go back to design silhouette. You could say that for the previous Megatron and Shockwave as well, but here, yeah, Shatter hits such a unique design aesthetic. You can absolutely tell it just from the silhouette. The turbine engines over the back of the shoulders, the wings hanging down, like, she's got a look. Like, she wears that really, really well. And they do a good job with the triple changing aspect, because that does still remind me, oh yeah, she's kind of a Harrier jet looking thing in vehicle mode. Oh, but she still has that muscle car front end in her chest. Yeah, it just looks really good. Again, striking with the colors, bright color palettes. They help so much. Menacing look to her in the face design. So happy they didn't go with the original blank helmeted face that they had before. And yeah, it's just overall super solid design. I really like I always want to call her Fracture. Shatter. I always like Shatter a lot. You know, anytime we talk Bayverse, anytime we talk the live action movies, she is going to go very high on my list, just because she's exceptionally effective and just exceptionally well designed in both character and obviously in her overall look. No, yeah, not a whole lot more I can say. It's just, yeah, it's a really solid design. One of my favorite Transformer villains. Now, I think I've made mention of this before. Of all movie designs, there is one that I have a huge weakness for. And I think this one I've pinned down enough to say I understand why. It just goes down to just design aesthetics that just hit me in a particular way, all coming together. My favorite visual design from a Transformers movie character is Bonecrusher. And I kind of see why. Number one, you're standing out. You have bright beige as your main color scheme and not a lot of gray robots showing through. I can tell what's happening to you in the middle of a fight scene. I can tell what's going on. Again, it stands out visually. We're talking silhouette again. He's this super wide-shouldered Hulk of a robot. These big dangling like hammer arms. And I like that look. I like big, solid, powerful units of a robot. So yeah, that works for me. That hits hard. The sunken head kind of conveys that as well. You know, like he's got much more of a brute aspect to him. And then you want to talk design silhouette. I love the idea of turning that Minesweeper, that big comb that's attached to his vehicle mode, and splitting it across his back to create just these blades hanging over his shoulders. Again, I just like weaponry hanging over the shoulders. I'm not entirely sure why. It's just a thing that I've got going on, and I notice it more and more every time I have to examine these characters. But no, Bonecrusher hits so many buttons for me, and buttons I did not realize were on my console, by the way. You know, he just works. It's the one movie masterpiece toy I bought. Like, it's the only one I own. I still have the Studio series. I really like the Deluxe. The Deluxe is one of my favorites from the 07 line. Like, yeah, this design is going to do it for me every time I see it. So that's going to be it. I can't top it. This is the peak for me. My favorite live action movie design. Bonecrusher. Congratulations. I know, maybe the highway scene just stuck to me. I don't know. But that is my list. And here's the thing. There's no debating this one because this is purely out of my preferences. This is just me flat out telling you, here's 10 that I like. Now, you are free to leave me your favorite design in the comments below, rather than debate whether I got things right or wrong in this one, because I can't get it wrong. It's my opinion. But that'll do it for me. Thank you everyone for watching. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.